guys, thanks for tuning in. Today is going to be a little instructional video about how we make our homemade wine. Cruise's Swamp Spirits. We've been making it for I don't know, about 3 years now. We've made wine out of every different fruit you can think of. Comes out pretty good most of the time. This is an instructional video about white wine. We pulled about 50 pounds of grapes off of our vines in the backyard on July the 4th. Actually had some good footage of that, but I think I deleted it. I can't find it. Sorry about that. But it's an instructional about how we go through it and how we make it, how we process it, how we bottle it, all that good stuff. Don't beat me up in the comments because I don't do everything exactly right, because I don't watch videos or copy people's recipes. I like to figure things out on my own. So it's probably not how it's supposed to be done, but we do produce some good tasting wine. We've given away hundreds of bottles, and it's not very often that we get some bad feedback. So anyway, hope y'all enjoy. Y'all have a good day. Bye-bye.
50 pounds of grapes, and we're going to make 5 gallons of wine. That's 50 pounds of grapes in a mesh bag. We're about to smash it up, and I'll show you what that looks like when we're done. Just keep mashing that until you get a good mush of all your goodies. Alright, I've been mashing on that for about 15 minutes. It's as mashed as it's going to get. I'm going to get my ingredients together and get the sugar ready, and we'll show you some more in a sec. And for this particular recipe, we're going to use 5 teaspoons of yeast nutrient, 2.5 teaspoons of pectic enzyme, 2.5 teaspoons of acid blend, 2.5 teaspoons of tannin, and 5 crushed Campden tablets to start to sterilize. This is the, I don't know, 3rd or 4th time I've made grape wine, grapes from my garden, and I've been tinkering every time. The last batch was really good, so I'm just going to duplicate that exactly to try to get that same taste that I did last time. So that's the ingredients for what I did. Again, it's about 5 gallons of must right now, 6 pounds of sugar, and the ingredients that I just showed you, and we hope it turns out good. So we've added all our ingredients. I've dissolved 6 pounds of sugar in about a gallon of water, and we're going to add it, stir everything up real good, and take a specific gravity reading with the hydrometer. Boy, it don't look too pretty right now. It kind of looks like ditch water, but it sure smells good. And we're just going to stir everything up good so we can get a good specific gravity reading. All right, here's my sample, and drop my hydrometer in there. I just got a new one because I broke my old one, and they sent me this opaque little cylinder here, which I don't love because you can't get you can't see a live reading in there because it's opaque. But I get a ballpark, and I kind of mark it and then pull it out. It looks like our specific gravity is 1.10, which is going to equate to about 14% alcohol content, which is pretty doggone good for a wine. It's not too strong, but it does have a little kick. So that's where we are. I'm good with that. I'm not going to add any more sugar. The 6 pounds got me where I need to be. So on to the next step. All right, we're all mixed up. Specific gravity is where we want it. All our ingredients are in there. I'm going to put the lid on. I'm just going to leave the lid loose for 24 hours. No airlock or anything. Just leave it kind of loose. Let those sulfites sterilize and do their work. And 24 hours from now, we'll add our yeast. We'll rehydrate our yeast and add them, and stick an airlock on there. And I'll show you what that looks like tomorrow. Thanks a lot. We're going to use, for our yeast, Lavalin EC1118. I usually use EC1113, but I don't have any, and I had this pack, so it's going to be just fine. So we rehydrate that in a cup of warm water. We're going to let it sit for about 15 minutes, and then we're going to pour it in our container and put a put an airlock on it, seal it up nice and tight, and hopefully it'll start bubbling here in a minute. Alright, here's our must that's been sitting overnight, 24 hours. The sulfites have done their work. Everything in there should be completely sterile. We're going to add our rehydrated yeast and seal it up tight. There's a little O-ring around the lid that seals it up nice and tight. So we're going to seal that up real good. We're going to put our airlock on. And I'm still, the airlock during fermentation, I don't know, man. So I've done someone airlocked and someone not airlocked. Really doesn't seem to make a difference. I like to see it bubble, so I like to know that the yeast are working. So it appears that there's enough oxygen in there, especially with me popping the lid off, stirring it every day, that there's no CO2 buildup or there's no issue with lack of oxygen with using an airlock during the primary fermentation. So I don't think it matters either way. I'm sure there's a lot of other people who disagree, but in my experience it really just doesn't matter. So anyway, I'll check back with you tomorrow. We're going to pop the lid and give it a stir, and hopefully by in the morning we'll start seeing some bubbles in an airlock. It's been 24 hours since we put in the yeast, and we have a slow bubble. The yeast are probably still reproducing and just now starting to eat. The bubbles should increase. Tomorrow they ought to be bubbling pretty doggone good, but at least fermentation has started, and it looks like we're going in the right direction. So here it is. I'm going to take my sterilized spoon and just stir it up a little bit. Smells really good. But usually after you stir it that first time, it really activates those yeast, and that airlock will just go nutso. But anyway, I'm going to stir it up, put the lid and the airlock back on, and we'll check it again. So this is the day after our first stir, and it's bubbling pretty doggone aggressively. So those yeast are doing their job, and we're just going to let it bubble. I'm not going to pop it and stir it again until probably tomorrow. I'll stir it about every 2 days. But anyway, it's aggressively fermenting right now, making alcohol and CO2, obviously. Thanks a lot. This is day 3. It's bubbling a little bit more aggressively. I'm about to pop the lid and stir it with my big spoon, and I'm going to sterilize my spoon with a solution of star sand. But I'll show you what it looks like. It's going to be pretty ugly, but that's just part of it. All right, we're on day 4. It is bubbling really good, really aggressively. I'm going to give it a quick stir and put the airlock on. Ooh. Alright, we're about 10 days in, or we are 10 days in, and the bubbles have stopped. I'm going to pop the lid off and take a hydrometer reading. If the hydrometer reading is around 1.0, or if it's looks like it's done fermenting, I'm going to rack it into a carboy. If not, I'll stir it up and let it ferment for another couple of days, but no more bubbles, so I expect we're done. We're going to check it here. So we got us a little sample. I stirred it up a little bit, got us a sample, dropped the hydrometer in, and I know it's a little hard to see. I've checked it a couple times, and it looks like we're at about 0.995. So that is, it's done fermenting. There's basically no sugar left in there. So we're gonna rack it over to a. So to determine your alcohol content by volume, we're gonna take our starting specific gravity, which was 1.10. We're gonna subtract our ending specific gravity, which was 0.995, and then we're gonna multiply that by a constant of 129, and that equals our alcohol by content. So this batch is going to be 13.5%. That's what I'll put on the label. It's a little bit strong, but you know, a little bit of kick. I like to taste the alcohol when I drink wine, so it's you know, it's good for me. I try to stick somewhere between the 12 and 15% range. Just that's what we like the best. All right, we're ready to rack. I'm gonna pull out my mesh bag, and I'm gonna squeeze out as much juice as I can from those grape skins, and we'll move on to the next step. So we have our carboy all clean and sanitized, our tubing, our siphon, and there's our must. The only last thing we're going to do before we rack is add one sulfite tablet, one Camden tablet. I like to keep some level of sulfites every time I rack, usually just a little bit, usually one tablet. It just kind of some insurance and just helps assure me, makes me feel a little better regarding infection or contamination. So I've never had contaminated wine yet. I don't want to have one because this is really a pain to go through all this stuff, and you know, to go through the months and months of time and effort and then have to throw a batch away because of contamination. I just assume use my Camden tablets and you know, just have some insurance. Okay, we're gonna pump this thing up, start the siphon going. And there we go. This little process here is going to take probably about 5 or 10 minutes. I'll show you what it looks like. All right, we have everything racked over into our carboy. Got about, oh man, almost filled it up. I had to add about 3 pints of water to top it off, which is fine. It's cloudy, as expected. Typically going to let this sit for about 30 days, and we'll rack it again, check the clarity, another 30 days. Last time I made this grape wine, this white wine, I had to rack it 3 times before it, you know, was clear enough to bottle. But no hurry. I'm expecting for this to go about 3 months, and I'll come back and show you guys how we rack it again and do another carboy and all the good stuff that's at the bottom. You know, little bit left in the bottom here. This is mostly just sludge, and but I typically want to get as much wine as I can out of here on the first rack. So I just left the big stuff at the bottom. All that stuff will clear up. But anyway, we'll see you in about a month when we rack. Hey guys, it's been 30 days, so it's time to rack this grape wine. It's clearing up pretty good. It stopped bubbling a while back. Clearing up pretty good. A lot of dead yeast and particles down at the bottom. So we're going to rack it off of that stuff. We have our other carboy cleaned, sanitized, and our tubing and all that good stuff. And we'll get her to transfer. All right, we got her transferring over. Flowing good. Smells really good. I don't know if you can smell that, but I can. We were going to rack her up. We did put 1 crushed Camden tablet in the new carboy, and we'll show you what it looks like when we're finished. Put the airlock back on, lid, and we'll let her sit for another month. Alright, it's been about a month. Everything is cleared up pretty doggone good. There's a little bit of cloudiness, just a hair. A lot of stuff on the bottom, so I'm gonna rack it one more time, let it sit for another month, and then we'll bottle it. I'll show you what she looks like after we rack it. I don't want any sediment, or as little as possible, in my last racking before we bottle, so I'm gonna put my tip about, I don't know, 2 or 3 inches from the bottom, just to make sure I don't disturb any of that stuff down there. I'll leave a little bit of wine, you know, at the bottom of the bottle, but that's okay. Well, it's bottling day. Everything looks good. It is crystal clear. Smells so yummy. First thing we're going to do is add I'm going to add Camden tablets and some potassium sorbate because we're going to back sweeten just a little bit. And we're going to sanitize all of our equipment and our bottles and our corks and all that good stuff. And we'll get to bottling. Now here's our finished product. Beautiful golden brown color. Let's taste it. Pretty good. Needs to age about, I don't know, 6 months, 8 months, maybe a year. Don't think I'm gonna back sweeten it. It has a little bit of a, we like our stuff dry, so it's got a little bit of a sugar taste to it, but I don't think I'm gonna back sweeten it. Everything is cleaned and sterilized. Our bottles, good to go. We have our corks soaking. So we're gonna start filling. This little cool contraption here is a bottle filler. Basically, you just hold it down. It keeps pressure on it. Fill her up till the bottle is done. And move on to the next one. We have about 5 gallons of wine, which I think is going to end up to be about 30 wine bottles. So we're going to continue on with this and show you what it looks like. We ended up with 26 bottles of our grape. Everything looked good. We did a little sample. It tasted great. We're going to let it age for, we'll probably crack one open around Christmas time. So maybe about 3 months, but I like to let them age for about a year. But I usually get impatient and have to test them out before then. Also, we have right now we have some peach wine, strawberry wine, blueberry, plum, and pear. And all of this is ready except the plum. The plum needs to age for, I don't know, probably another 4 or 5 months. But that's what we have racked right now, and we got a lot of bottles of each. So if I come up with anything new or something special that we want to try, I'll make another video. Hope y'all enjoy. Have a good day.